It's important to think of events as a marketing channel, an opportunity to engage audiences in a different environment. And with us today is an expert in that area. I'm with David Rich, Senior Vice President, Strategy and Planning Worldwide with George P. Johnson Experience Marketing. Did I get that right?
You did, thank you.
I got every word right?
Perfectly.
Thank you, David. Good to have you here.
Good to be here.
We are talking in many cases to planners, but not exclusively to planners. But I know your area of expertise and interest and passion is event marketing, events as a marketing channel. What's going on at George P. Johnson in that regard?
Well, I think probably the biggest news is that we see more and more of the world understanding that events are a marketing channel, and it's one of the best ways to cut through the din of marketing clutter. Now, the good news about the proliferating technology is that there are more and more ways to reach audiences than ever before, but that's also the bad news. So with all of that noise out there, although all of those tools can be very useful when engaging an audience, I think companies are looking for ways to cut through the clutter and use the technology as a piece of the marketing channel, but they really need to get together face-to-face with their audiences, whether it's a business-to-business endeavor or business-to-consumer endeavor. Give that potential purchaser a chance to look the brand right in the eye and have them come up with the answer that, yeah, that brand's for me, that's the one I want, that's the one I'm going to buy, well, that's the one I'm going to be loyal to.
And it's a physical interaction with the brand in many cases.
I think so. It needs to be physical, it needs to be emotional, it needs to be intimate, it needs to be close up, it needs to be highly personalized.
So with all the talk about technology, which to some degree theoretically pushes us farther and farther apart, how do you bring us closer and closer together? How do you work around the technology?
Yeah, I think the trick is that you have to integrate technology and physical experience together seamlessly. When they're done as kind of two separate channels, it really doesn't work very well, because then one is fighting against the other, and really all you're doing is you're adding to the noise. But when you integrate them together so that you are engineering a way that your audience can be contacted through the technology and through face-to-face in a way that's complementary and where one serves the other, you're bringing people closer and closer to the brand, and that's where the magic happens.
And metrics must be an important part of your business. Are you creating new metrics to demonstrate ROI, or using existing metrics?
A little bit of both. So we're sharpening up what we've always used around return on investment measures. We actually measure at 4 different levels. So we're measuring diagnostics to find out how is the event actually reaching people. And then secondly, we're measuring in terms of learning impact or brand impact. And then we're measuring what's the business result. And then finally, we're doing the ROI calculation to find out what exactly is the return over the cost, because that's very important in this environment as well.
Right.
But within that, to answer your question, we really have to look at, so to what degree are we doing a better job of engaging that audience and bringing them closer to the brand faster than ever before, hopefully cost efficiently.
And when we talk about closer to the brand, does the client in most cases care about a sale, a repeat sale, a relationship, or all those things?
I think they care about all of those things. I think in this economy, nobody wants to lose a customer. I think most brands want to turn their current customers into passionate brand advocates.
Right.
And then of course they want to grow share. So in order to grow share, they've got to steal customers from somebody else. So they're looking for conversions. And again, that's one of those marketing exercises where it's a whole lot easier to do that if you get face-to-face with somebody.
And does this work in B2B as well as B2C categories?
It does. It does. It works surprisingly well for both. And I suppose that's another thing that we're seeing within our agency and within the industry at large, is that I think not too long ago, a lot of people assumed that business-to-business marketing had to be substantially different than business-to-consumer marketing. And we're one of the agencies to spearhead the idea that we have to keep in mind that we're still selling to people. And so we're trying to move people to a new idea. We're trying to be highly persuasive. We're trying to make people feel comfortable with making a purchase decision. And there are a lot of the things that have to happen to make that work in the B2C environment are the same things that have to happen in the B2B environment as well. There are some additional things, but fundamentally we're still selling to people.
One of the things that, as a channel, if we look at event marketing as a channel, is speed, how quickly you can propagate. Can you work on a multi-location, multinational basis so that a company could have a launch of a product or a service in multiple locations?
Absolutely. We're doing that right now. You may be familiar with an event called Cisco GSX, which is Cisco's Global Sales Experience. That's a hybrid event, so it's a combination of virtual and face-to-face that touches 20,000 people around the world. So we have people in a number of locations, but we also bring them all together to a center point for some of the experience virtually. And what we're seeing through that model is that it works quite well. Hybrid is probably going to be the model of the future.
Both face-to-face and technology.
Right, a combination of face-to-face and technology, that hybrid experience.
And I think that we hear that in meeting planning as well, that there'll always be a need to bring people together, but not the only way.
Exactly right. Yeah, I know that there was, with the turn of technology, every time there's another turn of the technology crank, there's a momentary fear that goes through the meetings and events business about whether or not we're going to be, finally we're going to be made irrelevant. And I have enough gray in my hair that I can tell you that I remember the first one, which is in the 60s when electronic news gathering equipment first came to light. And everybody thought, well, that's the end of getting it together face to face.
Right.
And then we got into kind of a more affordable satellite technology. And once again, everybody thought, well, that's the end of getting together face to face. And now we have internet technology by which it's even less expensive to get together virtually, and for a while everybody thought that's going to replace getting together face to face. The truth is that there's a human psychological need to get together face to face. We're never going to replace that. What we can do with all this technology is to enhance what happens face to face, to extend that experience to people who might not be able to make it, whether because of convenience or cost for that particular iteration of the face-to-face experience, but who once experiencing it virtually might say, I've got to make the next one, I've got to be there. So it's an extender for us, and it's very powerful and it's very effective.
We've been talking to David Rich about events and about the changes that are going on in the marketplace, but it all comes down to engagement.